Welcome to the Practice Autonomy Podcast with Dr. Chris Griffin, your playbook for building an independent, resilient, efficient, and profitable dental practice. Each episode, you'll hear proven systems, strategies, and stories that protect one main thing as a private practice dentist: your freedom. Now here's your host, Dr. Chris Griffin.
Hey everybody, today I'm going to answer a question that I've been getting. I know a lot of you guys know that last week was our last ever 3D printing boot camp. And so a lot of people are saying, hey, what are you going to do now? Because I guess I've been doing something consistently since 2008, been doing the boot camp since 2020. And so, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, what are we going to do now? Or what am I going to do now, right? Before I feel really good about moving to the next chapter, I thought I'd have a little bit of a retrospective, I guess, about the boot camp and kind of explain where it came from, where it went to, things we accomplished, things we didn't. And some of you have been following me a long time, and I appreciate all the well-wishing and everything else you guys have given me over the years. It started all the way back in 2008 when I just went to a seminar put on by a guy named Woody Oakes and got to meet Woody. And he was so great, and he really built me up about what I was doing at such a young age in my practice. He actually put me on stage at a seminar in 2008, the first time I'd ever been in front of a big crowd. And all I talked about was practice efficiencies. And back then, I guess my claim to fame was that we could produce 3 times the national average in 3 days a week as a solo dentist. I mean, I've never bought into the whole, let's get multiple practices, multiple associates things. I mean, probably I could have gotten a lot richer if I'd wanted to do that, but I've just never felt good about it. It's just not me. That's kind of where we went. And so from 2008 till my practice burned down, I lectured on practice efficiency, clinical efficiency. How do you do very complicated things very fast and still maintain excellence, right? So heavy technology based, heavy systems based, stuff like that. And I got tired of lecturing on that, honestly. So I kind of quit lecturing much at all from the time the practice burned down until 2020. In 2020, after COVID hit, I got really into 3D printing. I don't know why. I guess it was the right place, right time. It was just something I always kind of wanted to do. And COVID gave me a chance just to sit down. And usually my time is very valuable to me. So I'm either working at the dental office or with my family, wife, and at that time, kids were at home, or sometimes I do take time to go lecture. And I do love talking to dentists. I really do. I'll explain in a minute why you would have to be crazy to want to talk to dentists. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to spill some beans. I don't have anything to lose now. I'm not trying to sell you guys anything, so I don't have anything to lose. I'm just going to tell you straight up some of the stuff that happens. You guys should really appreciate the people that try to come out and talk to you, because it's not easy dealing with dentists. I don't know if you knew that or not, but we're crazy. But 2020 started lecturing on 3D printing. I actually had two dentists in Mississippi, so great, such great people. They called up and they asked if they could come just do a private seminar on how to 3D print. And so I said, sure. So come on. So we did our first seminar. They were awesome folks. I think they're still doing great with it. And that got me motivated. And so over the next year we did 3 or 4, and then we did more and more. And I think in 2023, I traveled to 10 locations around the Southeast and Midwest, but I ended up coming back and just doing them in my office. It's just so much easier. I'll tell you, one time in Oklahoma City, this is a reason, not the main one, but a reason why dentists are so hard to deal with. They will sign up for a reasonably expensive CE course and then just never open an email to see what needs to happen before the day before the seminar. And then they'll freak out. But in Oklahoma City, this crowd shows up and you're supposed to bring a laptop to the boot camp because a lot of it's design based, right? Nobody, I think one person had a computer. One of the doctors in the room literally said, hey, I've got 9 laptops at my office or something like that. And they went to their office and got all those laptops so everybody could have a computer. How awesome they were for doing that. But my gracious, and no one ever gets mad at you because they didn't read the emails. It's just, man, we're so hard to deal with. So anyway, we did that, and then we just started doing it in my office because it was just easier. Because you know what? Dentists never read those emails, so they always show up without a computer. And in my office, I've got a lot of computers, so we were able to give everyone a computer, and it just worked out that way. So we taught dentists how to make dentures and models and surgical guides and how to make clear aligners in their office. I'm still not 100% on board with the straight direct printed clear aligners. It may be great. The other way is tried and true. It's going to have to be a little bit more proven before I jump into the other. But we taught that, and it was so good. Look, this last course I did, we had literally 100% on the surveys at the end of the course. 100% were straight 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5. Every single person, all the doctors that attended, all the staff that attended, 5 out of 5. And that's one. It doesn't happen every time, but that's one of. We had that a few times out of 20 boot camps, several times, all 5 out of 5s. And let me tell you guys, I love putting on these workshops, especially here because I don't have to travel. And I love hosting these people. And I think we try to blow them away with Southern hospitality and good food and stuff like that. And the people that come they're like always shocked at how fun it is and how great it is. And we're teaching these people new skills they're going to take back to their practice, and we're charging $4,000 or $5,000 for that. And you're going to make that back within 30 days or 2 months at the most, I would think, if you apply anything that we taught you. And so we're changing dentists' lives for the better, just like my life was changed when I got into it in 2020. It is so hard to get dentists to come down to these things. And it wasn't just here. It was hard to get dentists to travel to any of the other locations we put them on at, New Orleans or Atlanta or Birmingham. It's just tough to get dentists to do things. And I will say too, I mean, this got to happen in way too much. The last 4 or 5 boot camps, every single boot camp, we would have at least one dentist within 2 weeks of the boot camp that would just say, "Oh, hey, I can't come." Well, these things are small. Like there was a small setting. We would max it out at 6 offices. That's the most we would ever let come to the boot camp. You tried to keep it at 5, and 5's great because we could get everybody through all the processes and all the design work, and it wouldn't be a problem. Well, when you call up 2 weeks before the boot camp, and then it always starts like this, "Oh, hey, I can't come. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you guys have a refund policy." And then, yeah, we had a refund policy. You're supposed to tell us like 60 days before the boot camp because it's really hard to fill these things, right? I mean, you would be shocked at how much money it takes to market just to fill up a small workshop. And so you think, gosh, $5,000, that's a lot of money. And it is a lot of money. And I appreciate all the guys that spent that with me. And I tried to make it pay off way multiple of $5,000 for your practice. But let me tell you something. I mean, I'm writing a check to Facebook every month for $1,000 for marketing ads. I've got an employee who's she makes a decent amount of money. We're sending out all kind of direct mail and stuff like that. It takes a ton of money. Hey, let's not even forget about there's extra cost to have a company that does see. There's like PACE approval from the AGD. That used to be so easy. It is so challenging now. It's so much harder. So much harder. Why in the world are they trying to make it so hard for someone who's probably averages a 4.9 out of 5 on all their surveys? I have no idea, but it's just so much harder than it used to be. And it's so much more expensive than it used to be. And so if you think that even teaching classes that cost $4,000 or $5,000 are very profitable for the person teaching them, that's not true. It's really not. It's not profitable. At least I have tried. I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm telling you, it's really, really difficult, and it's getting more difficult. And it just got to the point where I was just like, man, I mean, I'm just not. It's just so much work. I love it. I love interacting with dentists, but I just don't want to do that much work, that much effort, and just have dentists cancel on you 2 weeks ahead of time. And then they start out nice, but then they always ask for their money back. And then you tell them the policy again, and you're like, "Hey, look, I understand stuff happens, but it is tough for us to fill these. So what if we just set you up at a future boot camp? Or if we gave you this much money's worth of video courses or whatever to make up to it, we'll try to do everything online with you." And at first they're nice and then they get ugly. And it's not just, look, we are crazy. We dentists are nuts. Last year there was a guy, I still do like to go lecture. Like I lecture about once a month, and that's just a lot easier for me. Go talk to a bunch of dentists, an association or something, get paid, and come home. You're not getting rich that way, but certainly it's a lot easier, right? I'm not having to fill the room and all that stuff. Well, a lot of associations will let you do a full day, half day presentation, and then you don't want to be egregious about it. But at the end, you ask permission first. But yeah, they'll a lot of times say, sure, if you want to mention you're having a course, absolutely go for it. And so I taught a course in Nashville last year, and it's going great. Had a full day course. Everything's great. This one guy, every break came up and had something to say to me, and I was trying to be real encouraging. I thought by the end of the thing, we were friends. And so pass out the little workshop order forms at the end. He filled one out, turned it in. And I don't know how you guys know how this works, but you fill out an order form at like a trade show or a seminar. A lot of times the person that is putting on the class brings that stuff home, or at least me, I would just bring it home in a big black case, bring all those order forms home. And then I would have my employees start entering in the credit cards on Monday. A lot of times you're going to have a credit card that does not go through, and that's just it. Usually you can call the office if you can ever get to somebody who can convince them you're not a telemarketer. The doctor will usually give you a card that'll work. It's a little effort, but that's fine. That's par for the course. This guy, after being my shadow all day in Nashville, fills out an order form, and Monday morning we run the card and everything goes through fine, no problem. About lunch, get a call from him to my person, not to me directly. He actually cursed out my employee. I said, what in the, what are you doing running this credit card? Who gave you permission to run this card? And she's like, well, doctor, you filled out an order form. You put a credit card number on the order form and you signed it. I mean, I would have said, what do you think you were doing? I mean, I didn't magically invent your credit card. And just, of course, we gave him his money back and he was a little bit nicer. But it's just tough. One guy bought an online course. Now I've got software that I put my online courses on, and the software is pretty good. Like I can see when you log in, I can see what modules you go to. I can see how long you watched a video. This guy called and said after 13 months after he purchased the online course, said he was never able to access the online course. I was thinking that might be true because my dentists they probably buy something. I may have done this, bought something and just never looked at it. I thought maybe he's trying to get his login information. That's fine. Well, no, he's saying he never got it. And we dropped the ball because we never sent it to him. And he was never able to log in and he wants his money back. Well, in this case, 13 months later, I was like, oh my gosh, well, I'm so sorry. So then I go back to investigate. We look in the software. This guy's logged in 3 or 4 times. He's watched 4 or 5 hours worth of videos. I mean, come on. Well, I actually bowed up and I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving your money back. So he did a credit card chargeback, which that's tough on the company that's getting charged back against. We had to defend that. We actually won that. I was shocked because there are times, I'll tell you about in a minute, a case we didn't win. So we won the chargeback. Well, guess what happens next? The state board from my state of Mississippi shows up at my office. And this is a dentist from another state. And he was on the board at his state. And he called my state board and said that I was committing fraud because I wouldn't give him his money back on this online dental course that I was running. And the state board investigators showed up at my office to intimidate me. And I'm getting back to my private office. And by this time, I'm just like, okay, whatever. He explained who he'd come for and all this. And I'm like, you realize I'm a dentist in Mississippi. And I do know that you have the purview to investigate things I do with patients of mine in Mississippi. But you're telling me that you're investigating me for something another dentist has complained about in another state that's got nothing to do with my dental license? Is that legal? And anyway, he started backtracking a little bit. He eventually said, "Hey, Doc, look, I had to come here. If you'll put in writing what you just told me, then and sign it. I'll take it back, and that should be the end of it." I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't even feel like I should have to do that, but I did. Put on my letterhead, I put, "This matter is none of your business. Signed, Chris Griffin." And I never heard anything else about it. I mean, that's the kind of crap that dentists will do. Dentists. No, I say I'm a dentist, guys. I love me. I love being a dentist. I love you guys for the most part. But I will tell you, some of us are pretentious, egotistical, narcissistic, and just are hard to deal with. I used to have a huge book I would send out when I would do an online course. The book would be part of it, right? So this guy gets the course, gets the big old book. It cost me like $15, $20 to mail this book to him up in Pennsylvania. He actually emailed me and said, "Hey, love the book. Could I show it to my daughter? She's a dentist." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, go ahead." It costs like $500 this course, or something like that. Well, then a few days later, we get a package back in the mail. It's the book that I had sent with the course. He had literally, it was wrinkled. The pages were turned down. There were Post-it notes sticking out of it. Obviously, it had been probably photocopied to death. And I said, "Oh, it turned out this course wasn't for me. I want my money back." And it also had paid that. I think that course had a 30-day money back guarantee or something. And it was after 30 days. And I fought that one. Well, guess what happened? After I took pictures of what he had sent back, I took screenshots of where it showed exactly the guarantee, 30 days. And showed where his first contact with me was after 30 days. It didn't matter. The credit card company actually did a chargeback on that and gave him his money back. I was going to keep, it was just $500, but I was going to keep his money just on principle. But no, that's it. And I'm sorry I went off on such a rant, but I was going to tell you, I mean, these are things on my mind as I've decided to stop doing this particular boot camp. And I don't know when I'm going to get back to doing courses. I'm sure I will. I've got PACE approval for 2 more years, and I'll probably do something. I don't know what yet, but not this. And I'm certainly very tired of dealing with dentists who don't appreciate the amount of time people put into courses and stuff. Like I say, hey, my hat's off. I would just say a few people my hat's off to in this space. T-Bone Agarwal from 3D Dentists. Shout out to T-Bone. Man, I think there may have been a time years ago when we had similarly sized companies, and you have taken off. And so, man, my hat's off to you, brother. Way to go. You're a heck of a businessman and very patient. I see some of your videos. You're very patient with dentists. Obviously, probably don't tire. Maybe they don't treat you like they treated me, but you don't tire as easily as I do. That was pretty awesome. My hat's off to you. As some more people, dental conferences are not what they used to be. 20 years ago, they were a lot bigger. I don't know if younger dentists realize that. Some events are still really big. I just went to a great one in Kentucky put on by Smile Source. It was a great event. I heard it used to be even bigger before this year, but it was great this year. So I do know they exist, but I have spoken at a lot of association meetings that are small, like really small compared to what I remember. I'm speaking next year, like at the Texas Dental Association and a couple more. And I don't know how Texas will be either, but some of the ones that I used to think were really big are very much smaller than they used to be. So I know it's tough to put on conferences, very tough. I tell you, and I never really took his course. And I guess at some point I thought he might be a competitor. We're both teaching 3D printing, but not really, because this guy taught so much more of the full arch stuff. And I'm not a full arch implant guy. I'm more of a locator implant guy. And so when I teach about how to do 3D printing for implants, I'm usually teaching about locators, because I'm not going to teach on something I don't do every day. And so, like Rick Ferguson, man, my hat's off to you, Rick. You are a heck of an educator. I've heard nothing but good stuff about you. You are outstanding. And so you've kept that company going for a while. Really, really good. And it's just impressive as how you've done it. In my space, I guess teaching people how to 3D print. My former space, Wally Renee, hey, MOD Institute. Wow. Talk about something. I think I heard Wally say on a podcast that he had, when he was starting that thing, that he like mortgaged his house, if I'm not wrong, and hired a New York marketing firm. And hey, it shows, brother. Your marketing is unbelievable. See, I've always tried to do everything by myself. Heck, the setup for this video for my podcast is by myself. I bought a course and just bought the cameras and did everything myself. That's just kind of how I like to do stuff. I am not going to mortgage my house for anything. I've been a dentist now for between 25 and 30 years. I mean, a long time. That's a lot. That's a lot of extractions. I have extracted over 20,000 teeth. And so I've just put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into my profession. I'm not going to mortgage my house to try to do an educational campus that teaches dentists. My hat's off to you, man. That's way to go. I mean, that is outstanding. I know that I'm forgetting a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that have done amazing things in education for dentists, but that's just some that right off the top of my head, you guys are great. And hey, big events like T-Bone, man, that big event you do. See, in 2012 through 2015, I did a big event around 200 to 250 dentists at the events. It's tough. I mean, the first one I did 2012 was kind of small. 2013 was the first one I did, was really big in Nashville. Man, and that's the first time that's one of Erin Elliott's first lectures. I put her on stage, one of the first times she ever was. And I'm the one putting on the whole seminar, and it's Erin's first time to teach really to a crowd. And man, she just blew everybody away. Obviously she was on a rocket ship to stardom and dental fame, but it's tough because we made pretty good money in 2013, but as the hotel costs increase, I know you know about that. The hotels got so expensive that by 2015, we actually lost money with over 200 attendees. And, you try to put on a good show for people, and then you try to bring in sponsors because it's getting so expensive. Well, one sponsor we got in one time, he gave us a lot of money to be a sponsor, but then he was so coercive to the people. I had so many complaints. People called me after the event. Hey, Dr. Griffin, how could you put somebody like this in front of us? We trusted you that these people were your trusted people. It made me feel terrible, right? So I never let him sponsor again. One sponsor who's a big company now, they signed a contract to be a vendor at one of these events. We used to have vendors in the hallways and stuff. They signed a contract, showed up to put up their booth without ever paying, even though they said they were going to pay for months. And we said, look, you've got to pay us. Everybody else here has paid us. You've got to pay us before you set up. They made a phone call, took their stuff and walked out, never paid. And so I still get calls from them all the time wanting to know, hey, will you use our service for your practice? We're great. And they're at all the trade shows. They're a big company now. And I carry around a copy of that contract every time somebody bugs me. And I say, hey, if you'll pay me this contract, then we'll talk. And you talk about shutting somebody up, that'll shut somebody up in 2 seconds, right? I never sued them or anything, but I do still keep a copy of that contract. So anyway, look, I was just wanting to let everybody know kind of where I'm at. It's been a fun ride with the 3D printing. I love it. I'm not quitting. In fact, we just discovered how to do the 3D printed partial dentures, metal-based partial dentures, where you 3D print all the saddles and the teeth, and you snap it on top of the metal frameworks. And so I think I'm going to keep playing with it. If I come with something really, really cool, I'll tell you guys about it. I doubt I'll do a course on it or anything. Moving forward, I've had a few people that kind of requested, hey, why don't you get back to teaching your clinical efficiencies, how to do endo really fast and good, or crown preps really fast or good, or just in general, just your clinical office management of how you get so much done, so many patients seen, and still maintain quality without killing yourself. We'll see. I don't know if you guys want to hear from me. Look, I got into this because I really wanted to help dentists. And so I would love to help you. If you have a question, I still want to help you. It doesn't have to be a formal class. You can just ask for help and I'll try to help you. That would be awesome. And if you've got an idea of how you want me to steer my company or this podcast or any classes in the future I do moving forward, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it. I do truly. One of my big passions is that I'm really a solo independent dentist guy at heart. I've got no problem with small practices. I've got no problem with a dentist that owns a couple, 3 practices. But as long as there's an actual dentist that's making the decisions for everybody, I got no problem with that at all. I don't really believe in the DSO stuff. And I do think there's going to be a lot of people that join DSOs that once their earnout's over or whatever, their contract's over, they're going to come back to private practice. And if there's any way that I could help people along those lines, I'd be more than glad to. I'm not going to try to present myself as someone I'm not. So I'm not going to try to go out and get hired by some big DSO or whatever. But if independent practices need my help, I'm sure going to try to help you. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. And so I appreciate you guys letting me get this off my chest. Just some of the stuff that behind the scenes, just so you know, look, when you go to a course or you go to a class, conference, association meeting, whatever, just know the person on stage, they are not getting rich to talk to you. They're giving up travel time. They're giving up family time. It never is rare. There are a few exceptions, but it's rare that anyone ever really makes more money doing this than they would if they just worked an extra day in their practice. I would make a lot more if I just worked a Thursday, worked Thursday every week in my practice. We just work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I love it. But at the same time, I'm kind of over letting dentists, treat you bad just because for whatever reason they think they're at that point in their journey where they feel like they're better than you are. They can say what they want because you're teaching a class or whatever. So anyway, that's it. So that's the retrospective on the boot camp and even some more stuff you didn't even ask for. So that's that. And then moving forward, I'm going to really try to focus in on, like I said, all the old stuff, the clinical efficiency stuff we used to teach. And if you have any questions, please hit me up, drchrisgriffin@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.